A single candle burns in the dark. Its flame shivers against an invisible wind, throwing light over the inside of a small brick house with a steep Dutch roof. Outside the window, black water hems the house in on three sides, licking at what's left of the yard. The candle's reflection trembles on the surface, thin, fragile, almost swallowed. A calm voice cuts through the darkness. The sea wasn't coming one day. It was already here, creeping up the streets of Noordwijck, stealing land grain by grain. Most people believed their town had 6 months before the waves took it. Everyone, except Henrik. He believed something many had forgotten. When you work with nature, nature fights beside you. The candle flickers. Cut to black. Dawn spills over Noordwijck like pale gold. Red brick houses press close along narrow cobblestone streets. Bicycles lean against canal rails, baskets filled with bread and flowers. Kids sprint across an old stone bridge, their laughter echoing over the water. But beneath the postcard charm, something is off. Brown tide marks stain the bricks higher than last year. Sandbags sag in front of doors. An elderly woman sweeps water off her stoop for the third time that morning, her broom splashing through a thin sheen that refuses to drain. Inside a modest kitchen tiled in blue and white, Henrik Vandermeer sits with his coffee. He's 68, silver hair, wire-rimmed glasses that catch the light. Family photos crowd the walls. Henrik in a hard hat before massive storm barriers. Henrik with a woman, Marta, smiling at the sea. Children growing up through the frames, then disappearing to inland cities that don't flood. Henrik spent 40 years building the concrete giants that kept the Atlantic out. Dikes, storm barriers, floodgates. 5 years ago, when Marta died, he put away his hard hat and came home. He thought his days of fighting the sea were over. Henrik shrugs on a worn jacket and walks to the canal with a paper bag of bread. Ducks gather quickly. The water is higher than it should be. It laps the very top of the stones. A tiny duckling paddles furiously, fighting a current that never used to be there. Henrik watches it struggle. His jaw tightens. He's seen that fight in people too. Back home at the door, he pauses. His fingers brush a framed photo of Marta, hair blown by sea wind, eyes bright. "I promised you I'd keep this place safe," he whispers. The community center is packed. Every chair taken, people stand along the walls, pressed shoulder to shoulder. Children sit wedged between adults' legs, fingers twisted in sleeves. At the front, Mayor Jan Dekker, a solid man with gray at his temples, faces a projected map. Almost half of it glows deep red. This is the 6-month flood projection. Everything in red will be underwater if nothing changes. The red covers homes, school, church, streets, even the small cemetery on the hill. Murmurs ripple. Anger, disbelief, fear. The government gave us 2 options. Both came with a price. On the screen shows a 12-meter gray wall rising from the earth. As it grows, it crushes green wetlands beneath it. Reeds vanish, birds scatter. Option 1, Jan says, a concrete seawall. Cost 40 million euros. Build time 3 years. He looks at the faces before him. We don't have 3 years or 40 million. Option 2, relocation. State support if we move inland. We abandon Noordwijck. A young mother stands. We can't raise our kids in a drowning town. We have to go while we still can. An old man slams his cane down. My father and grandfather built my house with their own hands. I'll die in it before I run. Arguments crash over each other. Neighbor against neighbor, family against family. Then a thin teenager pushes to her feet. Freckles, eyes wet but fierce. Anna. "This is my home," she says, voice trembling but clear. "Why isn't anyone even trying to fight for it?" Silence spreads. From the back, a chair scrapes. Henrik stands slowly. Heads turn. Everyone knows who he is. His voice is quiet, but carries. There is a third way, but it's not a wall, and I can't build it alone. Henrik's garage looks more like a war room than a place for a car. Blueprints and maps tape the walls. Strings link photos, sketches, numbers. Old engineering manuals lie open beside ecology books. In the center sits a detailed model of Noordwijck and its coast. While Noordwijck argued, Henrik studied, not just concrete and steel, but what old farmers and new scientists both knew. Water is dangerous and useful. Around the table stand the mayor, a few council members, farmers, teens, including Anna, and a young woman with a braid and a waterproof notebook, Emma. Henrik taps the miniature shoreline. Layer 1, the living shield. Shallow water planted with reeds and marsh grasses. Above, green stems sway. Below, roots spread wide and interlock, stitching soil together. Wetlands, Emma adds. They soak up wave energy like a sponge. In the first 30 meters, they can cut the force of incoming waves by half. Henrik moves his finger inland. Layer 2, the Willow belt. They sprout, thicken, send roots deep. Storm winds howl. The willows bend almost flat, then spring back. For a heartbeat, they morph into guardian figures, slender protectors that bend, not break. Willows love water, Emma explains. They grow fast and flex in storms. Another 30 meters, and we lose another third of the wave's power. Layer 3, smart control. Sensors that watch tides and storms. Pumps and small movable barriers that react before we see the water at our door. He points to a low brown ridge just behind them. Layer 4, a modest earthen berm. Soil, stone, and a little concrete. Not a giant wall, just a backbone for everything in front of it. He looks around. Together, it's cheaper than a concrete wall, faster to build, and if we start now, we can have real protection before the worst floods arrive. Silence hangs in the garage. Dirk, a stocky farmer with mud ground into his hands, crosses his arms. You want my low fields for this, don't you? Henrik meets his gaze. They're already flooding Dirk. This way, they could shield the town. Dirk studies the model, seeing his land turned to reeds and water. I've cursed that water my whole life, he mutters. He exhales. Maybe it's time it did something useful. You can use my land. Emma steps forward. I'm Emma Visser, marine biologist. I'll help choose species and placement. If we get this right, Noordwijck could show the world a different way. Anna lifts her hand. Tell me what to plant. Others follow. I've got a digger. I can weld. I can cook for the workers. They start at dawn. Elderly residents kneel in mud beside school kids, pressing reeds and marsh plants into the softened soil. See these roots? An old woman says, fanning a plant's underside. They hold on even when the water pulls. Henrik oversees the berm line with a red pen and measuring stick. Emma moves through the shallows, directing where each plant type goes. Dirk's tractors carve out shallow basins and channels where his barley once grew. He watches water slowly fill them, half grieving, half proud. Rain comes. They keep going. Days blur. Concrete sets in days, stakes going in, seedlings sprouting, people waiting, mud drying, storm clouds passing. But wetlands need seasons. But the sea wasn't waiting. Henrik was betting that young roots, multiplied thousands of times, could already stand their ground. Weeks pass. Green shoots break the surface everywhere. Willows poke up in tidy rows. Birds return. Frogs sing at night. Children show off muddy boots at dinner. Under plastic tarps, the town eats hot soup and bread. Tired faces smile more easily now. They've gone from arguing in a hall to building in the mud. Then, 10 weeks in, phones all over Noordwijck buzz at once. Emergency alerts flash. Radios snap from music to urgent voices. A massive storm system is forming offshore, stronger than anything in recent memory.
landfall in 48 hours. The hydrant dike is about 70% complete. The community center fills again, the air sharp with fear. Mayor Jan stands at the front with his
phone in hand. The National Warning Service advises full evacuation, he says. They say staying is too risky. A low wave of panic moves through the crowd. So why did we do all this? Someone calls. To run away anyway? Henrik looks older, lined with weeks of work, but his voice is steady. If we leave now, he says, no one will try this again. They'll say nature can't be trusted. Yes, there are gaps, but most of the system is in place. If we focus on the weak points, we're not helpless. Emma steps forward. The wetlands and willows are already absorbing energy, even young. The berm is built where it matters most. Finishing key sections could mean the difference between a disaster and a close call. The room teeters between caution and courage. Anna stands. I planted those willows, she says. I'm not leaving them or my home to face this alone. Dirk nods. If the barrier fails, my land goes first. I'll be out there until the last minute. All eyes turn to the mayor. He sighs. Anyone who wants to evacuate will be helped to safer ground. Anyone who stays, works. We have 48 hours. Shifts, safety rules, shelters ready if this fails. Agreed? Enough heads nod. The race against the storm begins. Floodlights blaze along the half-finished line, turning night into harsh day. The baker swings a hammer. The school janitor drives stakes. Teenagers haul sandbags. Younger kids form chains, passing bundles of reeds for last-minute planting. Older residents hand out coffee and soup, hands shaking but steady. Wind rises. Rain thickens. At hour 24, Henrik stumbles on the berm's muddy side. Emma catches his arm as he gasps for breath. You need to stop, she says. He sits on an overturned crate, clutching his chest. Work slows as people glance his way. He pulls out Marta's worn photo, looks at it until his breathing evens. I promised her, he says. Help me up. They haul him to his feet. He leans on a walking stick now, but he keeps moving. The sight of him back on his feet pushes everyone harder. At hour 48, the last stakes go into the worst gaps. The wetlands, willows, sensors, and berm are as ready as they will ever be. Families gather in the community center and other strong buildings. Cots fill halls. Battery lights glow. Radios crackle. On the front wall, a simplified map of the hybrid dike glows, each section tied to live sensor data. Outside, the sky turns the color of bruised steel. The storm hits. Wind screams over the coast, bending the young willows nearly double. Sheets of rain slash sideways. Waves pound toward Noordwijck, a roiling gray wall. The new wetlands take the first blow. Reeds and grasses lash in the current, but the root mat below holds firm, bleeding off power with every meter. Behind them, the willows bow, branches streaming, trunks creaking, but their roots anchor them like fists in the soil. Inside the community center, children cover their ears against the distant roar. Adults stare at the glowing map. The wetlands are holding, Emma reports, scanning the data. Willow belt flexing but stable. Berm intact. Then one segment of the map flashes yellow, then red. An alarm shrills. Section 7, Emma says, zooming in. North corner. Erosion rates spiking. If it fails, water will cut straight toward the old town. Panic trembles at the edges of the room. Henrik points to the screen. That's where we couldn't finish full reinforcement. It needs more stakes and sandbags now. Going out there means walking into the heart of the storm. Dirk is already pulling on his rain jacket. My field, he says. I'm going. I'm with you, Anna says, jamming her feet into boots. Mayor Jan steps forward. "You won't be alone." Within minutes, they have a team. Dirk, Anna, Jan, and a dozen volunteers. They grab stakes, ropes, sandbags, tools. Headlamps flicker on. They push out the door and disappear into the screaming dark. Inside, the red segment on the map pulses like a heartbeat. Static hisses over the radio. Then Dirk's voice, shredded by wind. "At Section 7, heavy washout, starting reinforcement now." Shouts in the background, the thud of hammers. Anna yelling, "Pull! Hold it!" The red holds, flickers to yellow, then slowly, green. Emma lets out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. Section 7 stabilized. It's holding. The storm rages on for hours, but no more sections turn red. The wetlands and willows bend and flex. The berm stands. At last, dawn seeps into the clouds. The wind falls from a roar to a low moan, then to dripping silence. Emma stares at the data. Peak surge past. Water levels dropping. No major breaches. We're dry. For a heartbeat, the room is utterly still. Then cheers, sobs, and laughter crash together. People hug whoever is closest. Anna, soaked and shivering, stumbles back into the hall and is wrapped in her grandmother's arms. Dirk slumps onto a bench, exhausted and grinning. Outside, the water line lies just beyond the living dike. Noordwijck still stands. 6 months later, Noordwijck has changed. Where Dirk's struggling fields once lay, thriving wetlands stretch toward the horizon. Herons stalk in the shallows. Dragonflies flicker over mirrored pools. Children paddle kayaks along narrow channels, life jackets bright against the green. Signs line the berm path. The living dike of Noordwijck, how nature protects our town. Tourists arrive on bicycles and small buses. They walk the trails, read the signs, buy bread in town, reserve rooms. Dirk's old barns are now simple guest houses. His daughter runs bookings on a tablet. He leads tours in muddy boots, thumping the trunks of willows he once doubted. In a conference hall in another country, Emma speaks to an audience of planners and engineers. Behind her, a slide. Noordwijck Hybrid Dike, a nature-based model. In 6 months, a town on the brink of evacuation became a case study. Since then, dozens of coastal communities have begun adapting similar systems. Nature is no longer just a victim in our models, it's part of the defense. Mayor Jan, invited to a regional summit, shows before and after images of Noordwijck. We learned the best protection isn't always the tallest wall. It's a community willing to work with its landscape, not just pour concrete over it. Back home, Anna, now training as an environmental engineer, leads a group of school children along the berm. "This willow was planted by my grandmother," she says, patting a trunk. "Those sensors over there were installed by my neighbor. We didn't wait for someone else to save us. We built this with nature." As the sun sinks orange over the wetlands, Henrik sits on a bench watching birds skim the water. His 3 grandchildren crowd beside him. "Opa," the oldest asks, "were you scared in the big storm?" Henrik smiles. "Yes," he says, "everyone was, but we weren't alone. The willows bent with us, the reeds held on with us, the whole town stood together." Later, he walks up the small hill to the cemetery. Marta's stone faces the wetlands, the town, and the distant line of sea. He rests his hand on the warm granite. "We kept them safe," he murmurs, "just like I promised."